All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are talking about something that is, well, it's completely flipping the script on digital marketing. It's called Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO for short. We're going to break down what it is, why it's basically throwing out the old rulebook, and what you can actually start doing right now. This is all based on insights from the very first conference dedicated to this stuff, so yeah, let's get into it.
So let's just start with a question that I'm pretty sure is keeping a lot of marketers up at night. Have you been staring at your analytics lately, just scratching your head, wondering where in the world your organic traffic is going? If you have, you are definitely not alone. There's this huge, seismic shift happening. And yeah, it's all being driven by AI.
And to put a real number on that, we're talking about some brands reporting drops in organic traffic as high as 70%. I mean, that's huge. And this isn't just some random dip, you know? It's a direct result of this new world of generative AI search, where the AI just gives you the answer. It doesn't need to send you to a list of links anymore.
And that brings us to a completely new reality. Look, for decades, we've all played by the rules of search engine optimization, right? SEO. But those rules, they're being totally rewritten as we speak. We're stepping into a whole new era, and what worked last year or even last month just isn't going to cut it anymore.
So what's the new playbook then? Well, it's this thing called Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO. And really, at its core, it's all about one thing: making your content so good, so clear, and so freaking valuable that the AI models themselves choose to use your stuff as a source when they're putting together an answer for a user.
And this chart, this really lays out the massive shift, right? SEO, for the most part, was a technical game. It was about keywords, backlinks, ranking. GEO, on the other hand, is a content strategy discipline. The goal is no longer just get me to the top 10. The new goal is to become a trusted foundational source for the AI itself. And you do that by focusing on concepts, on ideas, on what they call semantic richness.
And you really can't sleep on this. This isn't some trend that's 5 years away. The ground is literally shifting under our feet right now. Understanding the stakes of this new AI-powered web, it's just absolutely critical for anyone who relies on people finding them online.
And if you're thinking, I'll just find some short-term tricks, some little hacks to get by, just forget it. Listen to this. Anthropic's CISO, Jason Clinton, he laid it out plain as day. He said they have a clear path to make their AI 16 times better in just 2 years. Any little loophole you find today is going to be patched and obsolete tomorrow. The AI is just getting smarter way, way faster than we can game it.
So let's be real here. GEO is harder. It's way less predictable than the old SEO game. But, and this is a big but, the traffic you do get from an AI referral, it's often much higher intent. It converts better. The whole marketing funnel as we know it is changing, forever. So for right now, the strategic focus is pretty clear. Get a handle on ChatGPT and keep a super close eye on Google's AI mode, because that's the near future.
Okay, so how do we even begin to adapt? Well, to win at GEO, you have to stop thinking just about keywords. You've got to try and understand how these large language models, these LLMs, actually think. And that means moving from the world of simple keywords into this kind of weird, abstract concept that the experts are calling semantic space.
There was this fantastic story from the conference that really makes this click. A lot of us think AIs just predict the next word, right? Wrong. Turns out they plan their entire response before they even start writing. They map out all the concepts in advance. Like someone mentioned, when you ask an AI to write a poem, it often picks all of its rhyming words before it writes the very first line. It's playing chess, not checkers.
And this planning, this conceptual mapping, it happens in a place called latent space. Okay, stick with me here. The best way to think about it is like the AI's own internal abstract map of how ideas connect to each other. It has nothing to do with English words. It's all about patterns and how close concepts are in meaning. And your job with GEO is to create content that lights up the right parts of that map.
This really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? Look at how we search. We type in keywords. We look at a top 10 list. The AI, on the other hand, thinks in this wild, high-dimensional space. It's pulling from hundreds of sources at once and synthesizing an answer. It's not looking for backlinks, it's looking for the richest, most meaningful content it can find to build its response.
Okay. That's a lot of theory. I get it. But what do we actually do? Let's switch gears and get into the GEO playbook. What are the first actionable strategies that are actually working for people right now?
All right, here are the big 4 takeaways that you can start thinking about today. First, forget link building. Think citation building. You need to get mentioned on sites the AIs already see as authorities. Places like Wikipedia, Reddit, maybe the NIH for health topics. Second, authenticity is everything. Seriously. These AIs have what are basically bullshit detectors, trained to filter out all that low-quality spammy junk. Third, that means human vibrancy really matters. The richness, the creativity, the stuff a human would write, the AI is trained to find that. And last but not least, go hyper-specific. Answer those super niche, long-tail questions better than anyone on the planet.
Now, let's look at a really cool case study of this in action. There was a retailer that took this hyper-specific idea and just ran with it. They used their own product data to create an insane amount of content, with each piece targeting a super tiny niche use case. Their whole goal was to basically educate the AI on everything their products could do.
And their playbook was actually pretty simple. It broke down into 3 steps. Step 1, mine your data. They pulled out every tiny detail, not just from their own product catalogs, but from places like Reddit and forums to see what real people were asking. Step 2, generate the content. We're talking hundreds of pages targeting these incredibly specific queries like best watch for automatic time zone detection when flying westward. Crazy specific, right? And step 3, design every page to do 2 jobs. First, educate the AI on the product's capabilities, and second, convert the human that the AI eventually sends over.
So, this all leads to the big question, the one that seems to trip everybody up. Should you be writing for the AI or should you be writing for humans? It feels like you can't do both, right?
Well, the answer is you have to do both. It's not one or the other. Your content has to serve this dual purpose. It needs to be structured in a way that educates the AI system, full of that semantic richness we talked about. But it also has to be an amazing, valuable, high-converting landing page for the actual person who ends up there.
All right, so let's say you're doing all this. You're creating this amazing new kind of content. But how do you know if it's actually working? The old metrics don't really apply anymore. I mean, if getting tons of top-of-funnel traffic isn't the main goal, what is? We need a new way to measure success.
Here's the fundamental shift in how we need to think about measurement. We have to move away from those vanity metrics, raw traffic numbers and clicks. The new game is all about measuring incremental lift. It's about proving that your GEO efforts are leading to real downstream business outcomes, sales, signups, whatever, that would not have happened otherwise.
So how do you actually track this? Well, on the quantitative side, you can start tracking referrals from platforms like ChatGPT in your analytics, see what those users do once they hit your site. But, and this is super important, direct attribution is still a really unsolved problem. So you have to combine that with qualitative data. Seriously, just adding a simple open-ended question like, how did you hear about us to your forms can give you some incredibly valuable clues.
And that really brings us to the single most important mindset shift of all. If you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. GEO is not a technical discipline anymore. It is a content and strategy discipline. To win in this new world, you have to think like a strategist, not just a technician. So, I'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. We know for a fact that the AI of tomorrow is going to be 16 times smarter, 16 times better at telling what's quality and what's junk. So the only real question you need to be asking yourself is this: is the content you're creating today good enough to be its source of truth tomorrow?